Welcome to Split the Defense.
Split the Defense.
LEAFS Postgame Edition. Split the Defense is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004, serving the Kingston and surrounding areas. Alongside co-host Craig Pearce and producer Ted Evans, here's your host, Jordan Webster.
Welcome to Split the Defense, Leafs post game. I'm Webby here with CP and producer Ted in the booth. Leafs lose 6-2. All good things must come to an end as the Leafs winning streak ends at 7 games. And Vegas really turns around this game as the Leafs kind of did to the Avs in their meeting on the weekend. Thumbs up this episode while you're here. Subscribe to our YouTube, rate us 5 stars, whatever podcasting platform, leave us a comment. We want to answer those. What are your initial reactions to this game, CP?
I mean, that was actually a pretty good example, of the Colorado and Leafs game. The Leafs, I felt so I'll be honest, I missed most of the first period. Came in late, and my general, I asked 3 different people what how the game went, and basically the same, that the Leafs look good, playing smart. Some guys said lots of energy.
They owned the first period. I thought they came out hot, but
right. And so, so I'm coming into the second feeling okay, so it's a good start, continuing on from the 7 games past, and then I just didn't quite in the second period. It just felt like they just were kind of always on the back foot, starting to make some silly mistakes, and it just got away, there was kind of, even when they were they kind of got within 1, and then it gets pushed to 2 again. And then I just felt like Vegas had an answer kind of to everything. So like you said, all good things come to an end eventually, which I always hate, I love good things. So it's just kind of a bit of a bummer, but it was it is what it is.
Well, I think the biggest thing here tonight that we have to talk about is that the Leafs played with 6 left-handed defensemen. Yeah. So no Timothy Liljegren. He's out with an injury right now. I think he's day-to-day, maybe week-to-week. I don't think it's too serious, but he's not playing this game, probably not the next game either. So how much do you think that played into the Leafs losing tonight to Vegas?
I mean, it's insane that if you asked me that a month ago, I would say, Liljegren out of the lineup, they might play better. But he was so important when Riley went out. He continued that. He just seems to be the perfect partner for Brody. And missed him massively, surprisingly. No offense to him. I mean, it's just he's normally a third line guy, and he's been playing big minutes. And I didn't love the experiment of Riley on the right side. I love keeping Brody on the left, but it just highlights the issues that this team has.
In theory, though, Riley on the right side sounds so good. It seems so good with his shot, his passing capability. He can skate and move well. Riley on the right side makes a lot of sense. What doesn't make sense is that it doesn't work. It never works. And I don't fully understand why it doesn't work, but Riley should, in theory, on paper, be able to play the right side effectively. And in that case, I seen that a lot tonight, him playing on the right side with Brody on the left, because obviously it's around the room. Everybody knows TJ Brody struggles on the right side. It's not just us watching. Yeah. Everybody knows that. And to see that being paired up by Keefe tonight, that's just unbelievable to see. But I think the biggest thing is that it's 6 left-handed shots, man. 6.
Oh, yeah.
You can't have 6. 5 is crazy. 6 is undoable. You can't have 6 left-handed shots and go into a game against a Stanley Cup winning team in Vegas and expect to be able to go and come out with the win. I understand that they're better players and guys can play on their other side, but no. You need a right-handed shot. It's very, very clear what the Leafs' needs are now coming into the trade deadline, and that's only like, I don't know, 10 days or less away. So, like, obviously with Timothy Liljegren gone, you can tell they're missing something, and it's that right-handed shot.
Yeah, and like it just makes me feel more fortunate that we have McCabe, because like it's not like it's obviously not an easy thing to play on the right side, like shooting left. And like yes, McCabe still makes like an error here or there, and he made a couple tonight, but for the most part, he does a really good job of it. So like I think that I would like to like kind of keep him there because I like him with Benoit. So I can kind of consider him as one right shot. But yeah, we definitely need to add a second one, and bring in Liljegren needs to get back. Like they say he's day to day, but it like when a player's day to day and then doesn't practice for a couple days, then like that becomes like at least a week, because like he has to get back into games and stuff, right?
So now it's week to week, and that's why I said that.
Yeah.
So we don't know when he's going to be back. They don't have anybody to call up that's right-handed. Like, they're fucked. They have nobody. So it's a lefty or you're done. So clearly some trades need to be made. I don't know who there is out there for even lower pairing right-handed defensemen, but you need to get some righties into this group. It doesn't work like this. And it looked really, really good when you just added one right-handed guy to fill that spot. Obviously, this mashup of guys in these roles didn't work. But, I mean, we're going to see moves. So we had Ilya Samsonov tonight. I wanted to give him a shout out. I had him down as he had a great game, but that was for the first period and a half. Right. He played really well. And then we have to remember, when you're ending the game here, at the end of the game, it was 4-2, okay? 4-2. Then the Leafs pull the goalie, Vegas scores one, makes it 5-2. Then what happened, CP?
Well, then everyone stopped playing, basically.
And Sammy lets in another one still at the end. Now, that still stops playing or not. Like, it's not like they sat down on the ice. You need stops from this guy. There was a few times tonight, though, man, like a few times tonight where you needed those stops. I think a big one is on the Tavares. Tavares fucks it up in the corner. We can get into that with him. He is clearly not 100%. He's shooting everything. He's not making any plays. He's really trying to get things going for himself. And his bad decision leads to a Karlsson goal, which you can also place some blame on Sammy for that. Because in those moments when the players fuck up, you need a goalie there. Now, there was a moment, it was the first period intermission, I think, with Sean McKenzie was interviewing a Vegas player. I think it was Shea Theodore, and I believe it was something about the goalie making a save, and I just wanted to, I ad-libbed for him, saying, like, that's why you have a goalie. Like, you made a mistake, but what happened there? Like that. Well, you make mistakes. Players make mistakes. So, like, John Tavares is going to make a mistake in the corner. Players are going to make mistakes. You need the save. It's as simple as that. That one sucked. That one really hurt, and I really think that was the turning point of the game. I really think that was when it was all in the bag, and after that, the Leafs just kind of caved. I mean, you normally see that push at 10 minutes at the end of the game. I really didn't see that from them tonight. I really didn't see the extra effort at the end of the game to push on to try and get it. But maybe like they just gave up. It's crazy to give up, though, after winning 7 in a row. Yeah,
hold on. Let's jump back to Sammy. You're right, totally right. Like the first 2 goals, I felt like the one's a breakaway and the other one's like the wide open in front. And ideally, like if your goalie's hot and into it, you want one of those, like, and like the one that was the breakaway, like basically just got like shoveled through him. Right. So, like you're spot on. Like he was playing like he had been. And I felt like he just like reverberated back. And even like the one where it's like post wide open. It was almost the high stick. They almost reviewed it. And like, it was God. Like, puck should have gone in 5 times, and I know that he has to like recover each time, but like he just doesn't do that very well, and he's so scrambly that if something happens on the first, like even if it gets blocked in front, like he just becomes into scramble city. And so like I actually, it was the goalie conversation, I think it's gonna be a hot topic come tomorrow, because like Sammy's just been playing so well. Then it's now that we now have 3 goalies though, because You know, Wall played really well with the Marlies, and it was a tough game. He got like run over like 5 times during that game. So it seems like he's ready to go. So I would love to see him go back and we see Wall here soon. And then we kind of share like a 50-50 with Sammy. And unfortunately, I think in my books, like Jones is kind of out. So, but yeah, I'd like to see.
But I mean, he's so
Sammy,
serviceable. Like, honestly, at this point, like, are you going to keep?
Are
Are
we
you
gonna
going to keep
rotate three?
Samsonov for another year next year? Like, is that what we're running with next year? You got to think about beyond this year. I get like playoffs and everything, but like, if Wool's your number one guy,
He is.
Jones is serviceable enough. He's
Yeah, but like
serviceable
we're
enough
not
to
going to
keep-
we're not going to go Jones for the rest of the season and not Sammy. And like you can replace Jones. Like it's not
I
like
would
he's
almost
the,
just trade Sammy for somebody else's third goalie and let that third goalie be our third goalie and let Sammy take over somewhere else for them because like why hang on to him at that point if it comes down to having to lose a player over it. I guess I'm not trying to kick him out the door or anything here, but like somebody's going to have to go. Running with 3 goalies isn't going to work, especially when it comes down to the deadline. And if somebody has to go, I think, like, if you're not going to keep him next year, what the hell are you doing here? He's not your playoff game starter. He's not going to be that guy. So
he is
let
over
Joe
Jones.
roll.
If Wall gets hurt, I'm going with Sammy in the playoffs. Like he's kind of bounced back enough, and so like it's at the point where I don't care about next year. Like we're talking about like a goalie that's over the hill or a goalie that has flashes of being really good. And like for the moment, I'd rather take that flash goalie and worry about like the backup next year, you know. But I think the bigger point is that that like Wall is going to be your goalie now. I think like he's back, and so like I think that it's exciting to see him play again. I love how he plays goalie. He's just such a calm goalie. Pretty like just hasn't been like the best in the league, but he's just very reliable. And so like I'm excited to see him and it's going to be funny if they add a defenseman and then Wall comes back. And so, like, it's kind of extra help for Wall. So maybe it's unfair to Sammy just based on, like, Wall's going to get an upper hand maybe. But I think that if it was me, I would send Jones through waivers again. If he goes through.
He might even clear.
Yeah, like, he might go through. If he doesn't, I'm not going to, like, you know, cry over spilt milk. If you could trade him for something low, or maybe he's included in a trade for a defenseman, I just don't think you're going to ever trade Samsonov. And I don't want to really lose like that ability to have a good goalie in the playoffs if it comes to that.
Listen, we also got the Bartman here in the comment section saying Murray's taking shots earlier this week. It's a question mark, but that's true, the Bartman. He was taking shots.
Is, yeah.
He's back on the ice. He's not out of the picture. So, like, I mean, Sammy's a 3.5 cap hit or something like that, right? Like a 3 point something cap hit. And he says, like, maybe Matt Murray will come back for the playoffs when his cap hit doesn't matter. But wouldn't it be nice to be able to run with something like that and use that money to upgrade elsewhere where we clearly still need? We're trying to divvy up here because of the salary cap where you should be spending the money. Is it on the back end? Do we need a forward? No, we don't need a forward. We're on a win streak. Well, maybe you do. Right? Where's this money going to come from? So I don't know. Maybe like you have a Matt Murray as a third option as well. And I don't hate that. Like I'm just saying if he's not going to be your guy next year and he's not going to be your guy in the playoffs, what the fuck are you doing? He's really expensive insurance, like really, really expensive insurance.
Yeah, I that is the one caveat that like if you needed that cap room, which like currently they don't, like if they're going to trade for a defenseman, like they can make it work. They just can't carry as many players on the roster. But if it's for something to like relieve cap, then like, yeah, I would go with then Hildeby is my like flash in the pan goalie in the playoffs if we need one. But I don't like Murray going in there. Like that's like not an option whatsoever to me.
He's got new hips.
He didn't play well when he was here.
Yeah, but he had bad hips. Now
Yeah, I
he's
don't
got
care.
new hips. He's all flexible.
If he had a reputation here, it would be one thing. Like if this is Cujo and he went out and got hip surgery, I'd say, yeah, put him back in. But this ain't Cujo.
Well, he's, isn't he 2-time Stanley Cup winning champion, Matt
That is a
Murray?
lifetime
He
ago.
still is. Well, he still is. Cujo's a pretty old guy, too. I mean, I'm just
I
saying.
would probably put Cujo in before Matt Murray. I don't like that.
Oh,
but
fuck.
But I mean, if you had to, I guess like that is kind of a last resort option. You know, it's not a bad to have like a backup plan, and especially if cap doesn't matter, right? But yeah.
So I want to get back into John Tavares here. He was
Yeah.
holding his chest tonight, or his ribs.
I
Something
was
is ailing
worried
him.
about him.
The thing I was trying to talk myself through is, well, why doesn't he sit? Well, because maybe the injury is something they've told him isn't going to get better probably until the end of the playoffs unless he sits through it. And so he's just going to have to ride it out if it doesn't hurt him that bad. Or maybe not. But here's the situation if it is. Well, then he sits to try and get as much recovery time as he can have before he gets to the playoffs. Or he plays to try and keep his skating legs and injures it more. But if he doesn't play, his skating legs are gone when it comes to the playoffs time. So what do you do with hurt John Tavares at this point in the season?
It's kind of it's an interesting conversation. I haven't really had to think about it much until right now. I mean, my first instinct is like, let's do the Mark Stone thing. And like, let's just throw him on LTIR and we have so much cap. And then he plays game 1 of playoffs. And to be honest, he's kind of like, my memory serves me right, I think he's a pretty good starter of the season. And that's kind of always my gauge of if a guy can come off the bench cold. Is like, what's he like game 1 of the season? And I think his numbers are much better than like Mitch Marner, for example. So yeah, I don't hate that idea. I mean, yeah, but anything you can do.
That's not game 1 of the season. It's game 1 of the preseason. What's he like game 1 of the preseason?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. So, like, how do you come out of the gates?
Yeah, how does he come out of the gates? And I don't know if that's good for anybody. And like Mark Stone, yeah, they've done it. Pat Kane did it. Yep. Who do they have? Kucherov did this hurt, I think, and he came back.
Yep.
There's been guys that have done it. I just worry about John's foot speed. Do you have guys? Mark Giordano was the one to say, that he needs to keep playing, so that way his legs can remain fresh. That way he can stay in the game and stay up to game speed, as you hear them say all the time. So if John Tavares sits too much, he's not in game speed for game 1 of the playoffs. And right now, he is not doing well in the first place. So how much of that John Tavares are you going to get back, especially if you're getting a not game speed John Tavares, and he's not playing at John Tavares level at this point. That's what really worries me about this whole John Tavares injury. And I hope it's just something small that they're just letting him play through because it's not going to affect the playoffs, and he is going to be better and he can play through it. Small risk of injuring it, because like, why are you sending a guy out there to get crunched if he's got something wrong in this area that he's pointing to? Like, I mean, you're on TV, John. We can all see this. Like, we all know something's wrong now. Like, we're going to talk about it, and we're all going to question what are you doing out there? So like, I mean, if you don't want it to be talked about, hide it and say you can just play through it. But clearly something's ailing him.
Yeah, which makes me think like it's not something he's been dealing with for a long time. Because like he would probably like we haven't seen him do that like this far, so like it makes me feel like he's not great at hiding things, and so like he kind of just like was just being his normal John self. He's not thinking about he's on camera or anything. So like it's possible that maybe he just got crunched in the corner on a previous play and then it's affected him like this game. But the like other part that just made me like worry about John is just like how like his reaction. He was acting like Nathan McKinnon out there. He goes and he slams his stick and breaks it in the bench and like he's like hanging his head down like, and I was like, that's just not like John at all. He's like the most stoic guy. If he makes a mistake,
I don't hate it though, man.
Like, I don't hate it, but it just makes me think he's not being himself. So like it just made me further think that something's up.
Yeah, he's not the John Tavares that we're used to seeing. Absolutely. Yeah. And there is something wrong with him. So like, do you sit him to heal this injury? Do you let him play through it? It's really hard because he's not himself. And as much as like everybody says he's stoic and he's handling all of this really well, the demotions, he's not. You can clearly see in his body language, he's not handling this well. Even an interview that he gave the other day, his response was, well, if that's what he feels needs to happen for us to be successful, or something along the lines of that. Like he's not fully on board. He's there for the team, but he's not happy about it. Maybe he even understands, but he's not happy about it.
I mean, what player is ever happy?
No, it's just not hitting him well. Well, there's some people who can put their head high and go through it and understand that my role now needs to change and I need to do different things and I need to adapt to who I am now. And, he'll get there. But like you can see right now, he's not okay with it. He's not happy that like you have to, I've heard this said, this is secondhand words, that he's been the best at everything at hockey since the day he put skates on. He's used to being the number one
NHL,
guy,
but-
right?
Yeah.
Well, he was the number one draft pick in the NHL too, buddy. Like, so
Yeah,
he's
but he got
always
here,
been
he
the
wasn't
best,
the
always
best.
been the best, always been the best. Top guy in his team, top center. Comes to the Leafs, he's we called it 1A, 1B, right?
He's always been
He
the
was
B
still
though.
top, but still,
Yeah.
you wouldn't call him a 2. We called him a 1B because he's a 1. He was a clear 1 on 28 other teams at the time. He's the top guy, and he's not taking it well that he's now demoted to the third line, the second power play, not getting the looks he was before, not producing, and he's probably one of those guys that needs to produce to feel good at night. So,
Well, I mean,
don't know.
I think you're putting a little bit too much on him because like the way it comes off a little bit is that like he's taking it poorly, and like I'd say that
I
like
think
no
he
one
is.
could take he's taking it better than most number one centers, like you said, that are now on the third line, and like so like for the most part, everyone's probably gonna pout, but. I think that he's done a great job.
He'll get through it, and I know he will. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
so I
he's
think
going to live like this forever. I'm just saying, like, you can clearly see it, and that's affecting him too.
I guess it depends in what sense. I feel like since he's been back for for the previous 4 games till tonight, it didn't show. He was doing his good thing, except for what you said, like the
I don't know.
interview.
You
I
could
did
kind of see it on his face a few, and like he gets off the bench. He goes out for his power play, right? He gets 30 seconds of power play. He literally would fly off the bench, grab the puck, and snap it on net in a bad opportunity. In every game I've seen him play, he will not pass the puck. If the puck's on his stick, he could have 2 guys on either side of him. He's snapping it on net. There was an instance where he had the puck in the slot. Now, I get it. He's in the center slot. There's a guy in front of him. He has Matthews on one side, Marner on the other. And what does he do? He just rips that baby home because he's not getting time. He's not getting looks. Right? And I think that's
common complaint though from him always. You know, like he is the guy that skates over the blue line and takes a ripper. Like that's literally his identity forever. If he doesn't do that, then he's in front of the net doing something. So like maybe it's just like accentuated now because like he said, like it's not like he's seeing like, oh, like better option, you know, but like I think that is kind of who he
I think
is.
he's
And I
kinda
don't
got
mind
tunnel
that.
vision.
But that's a third line with Bobby McMahon and Robertson. I'd say like pucks on net is a good recipe. So maybe he's like getting into his third line pretty well. Like,
well,
I
maybe I don't know. I
understand
maybe
your
give
point,
it to
though.
one of the other guys, and you go stand in front of the net and bang it in. You're good at that. We know
He
you're
is
good
good
at
at
that.
that.
Go
Yeah.
do that. So, anyways,
Yeah, maybe.
Stay hot, Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler, happy birthday, dear Tyler. Did you see that? Was
Stop
fantastic.
calling him Tyler.
Oh, I love that so much. Guy takes a puck in the mouth tonight. Did you see that? I was like, oh no, he lost more teeth. No, lucked out. Just a big old gash in his liver there. That looked like it hurt. But he scores another goal tonight. Stays hot. 3 last game. Another goal tonight. How important is he going to be going down this stretch run? And what are we going to expect from him come playoff time?
Honestly, it feels like we've already made our first trade deadline trade, and we got Tyler Bertuzzi. Like
The actual Tyler Bertuzzi.
yeah,
not
like
just
we
whispers.
actually have him on our team now. This is the guy that we like who played against the Leafs when he played in Detroit. It's the guy that showed up for Boston in the playoffs last year. I think that like this is what was advertised. That's why he's making over $5 million. Like, he feels like a new addition to this team. So how important is he? He's extremely important. He's probably like the 5th or 6th more important player on the team after the core 4 and then, you know, the goalie, whichever one's in, and Riley. He's up there. He's contributing like that. And it's kind of he's been contributing for a long time. Just the points weren't showing up. So, I think that he's been like just amazing recently. It's hard to believe that he just wasn't this guy. I don't know what's been the recipe.
Honestly, it was those couple of goals going in. He feels good now. It's confidence coming back. It's like I was talking about it earlier. If he just gets a few, like you start gripping the stick too tight, you start thinking about it too much. You're not playing the same game, and just things aren't going in. Like there was a few nights there where he was shooting pucks where it was like, "Are you even trying to score?"
Yeah. Are you trying not to
And-
score? Like, do you have money on the game?
And now that he's got a couple of goals, it seems like things are starting to go in. Like it wasn't just the hat trick; he had goals in a couple of games before that, right? So like it's building up now, and he's got another one. I think he's just starting to feel it now. He's getting into the groove, and he's showing us the Tyler Bertuzzi that we paid $5.5 million for.
Yeah. Like, is he I guess Bobby McMahon probably. I was going to say, is he the second most goals in this winning streak? But it's probably Bobby McMahon, and then it's Tyler Bertuzzi, right?
be pretty close at this
Yeah,
point.
I don't know. Yeah, they're might be really close actually.
If you're only going to count the winning streak, I think it'd be Bobby McMahon.
Yeah. But yeah, he's been super important for sure.
The Bartman, did he have tape on the blade tonight? Just the tip. Just the tip.
Did he do the fold over the top? Is that the move he went for? 'Cause that's what he did before.
I actually looked for that when he scored tonight. I was like, is he got are you taping his stick or something? Like, why is he doing so well? What is it? There's something. But honestly, it's what he is. He's off the schneid. He's back in the game. He's feeling it. The coach said himself, he's an absolute gamer. So you expect a guy like that to produce, and he expects himself to produce. And when he doesn't, it's, going to be the same as everybody else as we just discussed. Yeah. But nice to see Tyler Bertuzzi back, and I hope he rolls that through into the playoffs, because that's exactly the guy we need. So here was fun tonight. Keefe gets a 10-minute misconduct, gets kicked out of the game. But whoa, let me cook, okay? McMahon takes a tripping call at the beginning of the game, trying to shoot the puck. He was shooting the fucking puck. And the guy trips over his follow-through of a shot or whatever, and he gets a penalty. Holy fuck. Then, the Leafs finally get their first power play at the 5-minute mark of the second. They have possession of it, and the refs blow the whistle early. What the fuck? Like, oh my God. Okay, so Keith's losing his mind. I'm losing my mind. Like, I honestly always complain about the refs, and I know that. You can call me out for that all you want. I know. I fucking hate this league for these refs. They just drive me fucking crazy. But Marner gets called on a trip when the defender trips over his own 2 fucking feet, and he was stick lifting him. He was stick lifting him. His stick wasn't even in his foot area. It was in his waist area, but I tripped him. Okay, that's awesome. And then the Pietrangelo high stick. The Pietrangelo high stick was clearly a high stick. I mean, I guess not, because I'm going to give credit to the benefit of the doubt to that one, because the Leafs video staff is so good. Yeah. They're so good that I will give benefit of the doubt to that. But fuck off with all those other things, and then you just top that on there. I get why Keefe was losing his shit. When that guy falls over, he's got an iPad. He can see the replay. Like, I'm watching right here in front of my face. You fucked that up. And I hate that so much, because what did the Leafs get? 2 power plays today? 1? I can't even remember the second. I'm so heated right now. Like, I know they got 1, because I was like, oh, they finally got 1. There's 5 minutes left in the second.
Yeah. The one with the Marner, like, the problem is, like, what's a trip? Because, like, does it have
what
to
is a trip? What is goaltending interference? What is anything in this fucking
No, but
league?
that's the problem. Like, goaltender interference is, like, a pretty easy, because that's the NBA. Or the goaltending I was talking about. There's, like, it's just funny that every rule is just so weird. So, like, the guy's going down clearly, right? Like,
yeah.
Like,
on his own.
His Marner's stick hits his shin. But, like, I don't, like, a second before that, he's already falling. So, like, I don't know. Yeah.
His knee,
I don't know.
Maybe. It wasn't his skates or anything. Like,
no.
It's not like he hooked his leg out from underneath him. It was a bullshit call.
Did you watch it? So, like, I don't know. This is where I maybe give the refs too much of a break. But, like, the first replay, you watch it from, like, where the penalty box is, right? And I'm just like, it's a friggin' trip. Marner stick into the skates, right? And then they show the reverse angle. It's like, wait, like, it was so much clearer. It's like 2 different pictures. Like, you watch it from one angle, and I'm like, shit. And the other angle, it was kind of like, well, I can see why that was called. So, like, I don't know. It's like one of those, like, scenarios where, like, it's tough being a ref, but they just suck at it.
Oh, it's tough being a ref. Cry me a fucking river.
I know.
All those mistakes tonight. Like, how many power plays did Vegas get tonight? Oh, I fucking hate Vegas. Fucking expansion team.
I just wish they would just make it even, because, like, they obviously don't call every penalty. It's just couldn't be more clear. And they just, like, arbitrarily pick which ones that they want to call. So, like, I'd rather it be where they were just, like, evening it up, where it was, like, 2-2 every time. Because otherwise, like, we're going to have...
I don't want that, but,
honestly...
like, Vegas played a 100% clean game tonight. They were just saints, and they did absolutely nothing wrong. They were petting puppies while they were out on the ice. They didn't do a thing to harm or foul anybody on that ice. It was all the Toronto Maple Leafs. They are the devil. They are sin itself. Fuck off.
Well, like, yeah, it's, like, that's... that's ridiculous, right? Like, it's not even close. But the problem is, if you called everything, there'd be 50 penalties each way. So,
well,
like,
then do it, man.
I
Call
know.
the rules. I don't care. Call the
No.
rules. I like power plays. Like, fuck.
I like
4-on-4s
playoff
are
hockey.
fun.
I like playoff hockey. So, like, when the rule book goes away, I actually get a little happier. So, like, I know that's not a popular opinion, I don't think, but, like,
Well, then why have the rules? Change the
honestly,
fucking rules then.
I think it was
Go
just like the Avs and Leafs game. Like you said, let them
No.
play, right? There was a lot of let them play in that game. There was
No,
calls
what? No,
made
who
and-
let who play? Vegas? Because the Leafs took like 5 penalties tonight and Vegas took 1.
well, that's
So
the
who got
thing.
to play tonight, really?
Ted's kind of saying, like, they maybe shouldn't have given Vegas so many. You know, it's like, you know, let them play.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying, Ted?
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
take
yeah.
that way. You want to flip the other way? I'll go the other way. We can go the other way too. But I'm not against them calling penalties. I'm not going to sit here and complain and say,
I kind of
well,
am.
these guys didn't deserve it by the rules.
Yeah.
Sure, we had these talks about some of them are controversial. But at the end of the day, they took 5 to Vegas's 1, and it's Vegas. It was Vegas, and you see the way they play the game. They're not just known to be skilled up, finesse, 1970s team Sweden. That's not who it is.
Yeah.
It's the Vegas Golden Knights who crash and bang and slash and hack, and they got away with so much tonight. If they're going to get away with it, I just think the Leafs should too. And I fully feel for Keefe for getting kicked out because good.
Isn't it-
Somebody needed to. It was funny, actually, Willie turning around or grabbing him at one point and saying, like, calm down. Like, Willie's telling him to relax, Guys on the bench are just like, Kiefer, relax. But
I kind of thought it was
I
a
don't-
weird
I feel
timing.
for him. I don't blame him.
When he got calmed down or got kicked out, he had already calmed down. Like, that was the weird thing. It's like, he should have got kicked
Yeah,
out
but he
like
kept it
5
going.
minutes ago. And then he calmly says to the guy, I guess he's repeating the exact same thing when he was freaking out, but much calmer. And then gives
Yeah,
him
and I
the
don't
gate.
think he used the F word.
No. Oh, you're going to say F word this time
Yeah.
versus the last 10 times you said fuck?
I don't think he used an F word.
Yeah.
That's a super. I can't even. What is it called? Any profanity? That's the one. I don't think he
Profanity,
used any
yeah.
profanity at the end there. So
No.
he should have been fine. But he did repeat the same thing. He was beating a dead horse at that point.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like game management, as we talked about. Like you're
Yeah.
distracting from the game now. Get out of here.
Yeah, move on.
We know we screwed up.
Mhm.
So, one last thing here before we get out now. It's clear that the Leafs are missing a D-man, right-hand shot specifically. Less than 10 days left until the deadline. Do you think Tree actually makes a splash for this before the 8th, or do you think it's going to be a deadline day deal?
I think it's going to be like a 2-day before the deadline. Like, I know that Tree isn't a guy who likes to go into the last minute, so I don't think he's going to do that. But I think to get to like the best price, I think you need to get kind of close to there, and then you kind of just add the last little thing to get the deal over the top. So I'd say like maybe 2 days out of the deadline. I mean, no one really goes to the deadline these days. The deadline day is always
Well, there
boring.
hasn't been much action this year. Like everybody in
That's
TV
true.
is pretty excited about their job on trade deadline day. Can you imagine what it's like being an insider on trade
Oh my
deadline
God,
day for
that's
the
a-
last few years? Brutal job. But
You know
I mean,
what's
you're
funny?
getting paid to just hang out all
Yeah.
day, I guess.
The last 3 years I've been in school during trade deadline day, and I've happened to be home. And so like it just seems like I throw it on there. And so like 2 years in a row now, I've watched these guys like play games in the studio because they have nothing to talk about. So it'll be interesting.
Exactly. Like,
to
there's
see.
no point. If you have Twitter, just turn on your notifications from like 2 people and you'll know everything that happens that day. Like,
I
you
actually
see
don't
everybody
understand
trade deadline
the
shows.
trade deadline show,
Frank.
to be honest.
What's that, producer Ted?
Just Frank. If you've got Frank, if you got notifications on for Frank, you'll probably hear about shit.
Oh yeah, probably.
Insider.
If he can leak something, he'll
Yeah.
have it out
Yeah, I was
there,
gonna
right?
say, are you sure it's gonna be true though?
yeah. At least you'll know
well,
it first.
there's always-
I like Frank though. I shouldn't have said that, but I don't always take what he says as gospel.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. He did have all those leaks on Seattle. He has had a lot of leaks on a lot of things.
He does for sure. Yeah.
Anyways, Leafs are back in action against the Coyotes again for the second time in 8 days. And that's Thursday night, 7 p.m. As always, we will be here to chat with you about the game. Thank you for commenting tonight. That's a wrap. Like us on our socials. Give us a like on this YouTube video. Subscribe. Rate us 5 stars. And you can find us on X at STDP Hockey. It's Split the Defense everywhere else. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to Split the Defense,
Split the defense.
Leafs Postgame Edition. Hosted by Jordan Webster, Craig Pearce, and producer Ted Evans. Split the Defense is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004, serving the Kingston and surrounding areas.